What's going on, everybody? Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Straight Talk. Um, so, pretty interesting week, right? We just had the debate yesterday, um, which we'll be getting into here shortly. Just want to touch on what we talked about last week, which was Run for Hope. And that was a huge success. We actually ended up raising over $300,000 for world missions, which is amazing. And as a movement, we actually raised over $3.2 million, and that's incredible during this time that we're in. And that just goes to show you what God can do. So really good stuff there. Incredible. Um, as far as what we're going to be talking about here today, um, the elections. Before we get into that, I want to show a little meme here. Kind of goes along with the climate that we're in. Right? It says the kind of energy I'm trying to have in 2020. Yep, I think that's a pretty good representation of what the year's been like. Um, but you see he's got a smile there. So through it all, just have a smile, enjoy the show. Right. So a little humor there before we get into this pretty divisive topic concerning the presidential election. And while there is so much that we can get into and focus on, I definitely don't want to open too big a can of worms, but I want to focus on two dynamics regarding the presidential candidates, Trump and Biden, and just bring a couple things to light. Uh, and those two dynamics are corruption and morality. And then kind of just weigh the difference between the two. So, in terms of corruption, we know that Trump was, being investigated for most of his presidential term for colluding with Russia. We now know that investigation was determined that there was no collusion, so there was nothing there, according to the results of the investigation. The only other corruption that we can really, that's at least mainstream right now, is the topic of his taxes and whether or not he's adequately or paid an adequate amount in taxes. His tax returns has not been released yet, but supposedly at some time they'll be released, and then we'll see whether there is some corruption there and whatever's going on with his taxes. Now, as far as President Biden in terms of corruption, what's been going on recently concerning his son's laptop that's been now in the possession of the FBI. It's similar to what happened the last election term with Hillary Clinton and Anthony Weiner. There was some pretty damning evidence on that laptop that definitely questioned the corruption levels within Hillary Clinton's campaign. And here we are in 2020. There's another laptop with all kinds of explosive intel that doesn't look good for the Biden campaign. It definitely puts him in a pretty ugh, tricky situation. Now, he has the claims about the laptop and what's going on with his son. Joe Biden has denied. There's been um, different politicians like Adam Schiff who has denied that there's any legitimacy to the claims that are on the laptop. But the director of national intelligence actually came out this week and said that the contents of that laptop are not actually part of any Russian disinformation campaign. So there's legitimacy to the contents of that laptop. There hasn't been any investigation or charges or indictments or anything like that yet, but there's that. So, in terms of corruption, those are a couple things that you can look at in terms of Trump and Biden. I would definitely encourage you to look more into them, because if the allegations of whatever's going on the contents of that laptop come to be true, that's pretty remarkable, and should definitely weigh in on our decision with whoever you choose to vote for. Now, shifting over to the second dynamic, morality. Um, I just want to make a couple of things clear. Biden is no saint. Trump is no saint. And if your vote is based upon the moral character of either one of these individuals, then I don't know what to tell you, because none of them have the moral high ground in any way. I wouldn't want my child looking up to them or modeling their life after their example. Either one. So if your vote is based upon whoever has the higher moral ground, then I mean, man, you could just pick a number out of the hat, because that's about as good a chance as you'll have. Um, so what we have here really are two prideful, arrogant, and sinful men, right? But Biden and Trump are both prideful, arrogant, and sinful men. So what we're left with then is policy. And in terms of policy, which I don't want to get too much into, if you are pro late term abortion, pro socialism, pro big government, then your choice is clear. If you are the inverse of those things, then your choice is clear. At the end of the day, you just have to vote your conscience. But regardless, God will still be on the throne, regardless of who is in office. And his will come to pass, regardless of who is in office. So whether you stand for one candidate or the other is not what's imperative. What matters most is where you stand with your maker, who holds the lives of both candidates in his hands, who can turn their hearts whichever way he desires to turn them. Where do you stand with him? And during this interesting year, this election year, I would say that's what matters most. So, that being said, God bless America. May God's blessing and grace and mercy be bestowed upon our land and our families. All right. And so that's all I got for you this week. We'll see what happens. But regardless, God is still on the throne. See you guys next week.